What's your mindset when you line up?
Eyes inside, looking at the ball. Ball snap, take off. And it just seems like nothing but bright skies. They like quarterback just hit.
James Harrison is on the case.
I'm turning my ears back. I'm doing whatever I think I can do to get the ball.
We'll lay a pillow down where I'm going to tackle them so they don't hit the ground too hard, Mr. Goodell.
Bad dude right there, but an expensive season last year for Steelers linebacker James Harrison, fined at least $125,000 by the NFL for on-field action. Week 2, they sit on bench. Young cost him $5,000. 4 weeks later, Mohamed Massaquoi led to a $75,000 fine and spurred the league to crack down on rough play against the Saints. Then in Week 8, Harrison back at it again, docked another $20,000 for this hit on Saints quarterback Drew Brees. How much money does he make? And then in Week 12 against the Bills, Harrison was penalized for, quote, leading with the crown of his helmet. That hit against Ryan Fitzpatrick, that Fitzpatrick is still recovering from. He was also fined $25,000. Some say because of those hits, the league expanding the definition of a defenseless player at its owners meeting this week, adding kickers, punters, runners who have had their progress stopped, and others. They also prohibited launching of 2 feet of delivering a blow to the head of an opponent, and they ruled that only hits to a quarterback's helmet that are deemed a forcible blow will be penalized. Now, Harrison, of course, not happy with those changes. Everybody's on Twitter these days. I mean, you guys are on Twitter, I believe, tweeting, I'm absolutely sure now, after this last rule change, that the people making the rules at the NFL are idiots. We are now joined by the man himself, the tweeter of the week, Steelers linebacker James Harrison, who joins us by phone. And James, you've always been outspoken about these rule changes, at least the enforcement of the rules. What part of the newer rules upset you the most, though?
It's the contact with the helmet, where they're going to start calling anything where it's, whether it's incidental contact or whatever it may be. Like I've said many times before, I'm not out here to maim or hurt anyone, and launching yourself into someone has always been illegal. Warren Sapp and Jamie Dukes to go on, saying that we're insane. I believe those two are insane to actually believe that. I was referring to that rule as being one of the ones that was stupid, because that's something that you need for player safety. Everybody knows that.
But was there a part of you that when you were typing those 140 characters that made you say, well, maybe I shouldn't send sin on this one because of the fines I've incurred over the past?
I'm unemployed right now. You can't fine me for anything. But to make the rule to where now if you get any type of helmet contact that you're possibly going to kick a guy out of the game, find the team, and if not more, it's just absolutely, it's ridiculous.
Well, Woodley made it seem like that this was Steelers rules. Like it seemed like it was sort of targeting you guys. Do you guys on the Steelers, you and your teammates, sort of feel like they're targeting you, the NFL specifically targeting you with these rules?
I feel like they're not enforcing those rules equally across the board. Because I can show you, probably 1,000 other hits from last year that were the same as ours, if not worse, that were not fined, that were not flagged. So if you're going to make the rule and call it to the letter across the board, then do that and make sure you do it for every team and not for just certain teams or individuals.
Well, of course. Now, you've been fined a lot over $100,000 last year. Now it seems like the rules are saying that if you get more than one fine or there's an accumulation of these fines by you or your teammates, now the team is going to be fined and maybe even further penalties out there. How does this affect the way you're going to play the game once you're back out on the field now?
To be honest, it's not really going to affect too much of how I play the game. It's nothing that, I consider that we do that is illegal or outside of the box. My only problem is with incidental contact to the head. And that's what I've been fined for. Again, as Warren Sapp said, I'd like to launch myself into anyone. I was never fined for launching myself into anyone. I've never launched myself into anyone. I was fined for helmet contact. So if you're going to, sit there and bring things out, talk about things, just make sure you do the correct research and see what what it is I'm exactly fined for.
Now, James, I can understand your passion, but is there a part of you that sort of understands where the NFL is coming from since we've had so many head injuries over the years?
I understand that, and you need to protect the players, and the players need to take care of each other, and we understand that. But when it comes down to it, it's an assumption of risk that you take when you play a game. If it's not working to you, then you get out of it. Right now, we know that it's a risk to head injuries and things will come on later down the line. The guys didn't know 10, 20, 30 years ago. We know that now. We understand that. Mm-hmm. So you have to protect the players at the same time. In certain situations, circumstances that you can't control, with guys who move so fast and, helmets for life.
All right. We shall see how it all plays out. James Harrison, Steelers linebacker, man, thank you for joining us here on NFL Live, and best of luck to you when you guys do get back out on the football field. Thanks for hanging out with us here today. Yeah, like to have him out on the football field. He scares me sometimes. He does. His teammate Lamar Woodley also tweeted, "I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that we hit hard." So these guys are sending messages out via Twitter. What kind of messages are they sending to ball carriers that, they're not backing down?
Well, they're defensive players, and how they deal with things is emotion, and that's how they play their game, and that's how passionate they are. So, if I'm an offensive player listening to these comments of Woodley and Harrison, they're not going to change their game. There's clearly some misunderstanding of the rule. They want to clarify, but I think it's good that the league is trying to do this in the offseason instead of waiting until week 6 so we can start off a fresh season when we do start it off with rules fresh in these guys' head. But these guys are intimidating offensive receivers and offensive players when they're not even on the field. Because what they're telling everybody right now is, we don't care what the rule is, we're just going to keep hitting you, and if they want to interpret it as illegal, we don't feel it's illegal. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers way. And there's going to be some more players knocked out next year because of these guys.
When I came to the league in 1977, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a linebacker named Jack Lambert. Mm-hmm. Bad attitude, boy. He was a hard hitting too. And you think about their linebackers, they've always been very physical. That's how they play defense in Pittsburgh. But I think he understands. The intent really is to protect the player, and he said it himself, hey, look, I've never intentionally went out to go hurt a player. He gets that part of it. But it's a physical game. He's right. But I think there comes a point to where players have to understand when you lower your helmet or use your helmet as a weapon to hit another player, a defensive player, it's going to be called a foul, period. It's for the benefit not only of the offensive player, but the defensive player. When you lower your head and use the crown of your helmet, you could hurt yourself. So that's part of it. These guys understand that. They will understand the rules. Last year, when it first came out, players were mad, and it kind of calmed down. And now it's the offseason, we're talking about it again. These linebackers are physical players. Keep playing physical, men, because that's the way the game's supposed to be played. You know what? When you're taught as a defensive player, a couple things you do as defensive. You know that you're a defensive player. You either intercept the ball or you jar the ball loose from the person that's trying to catch it. That's part of the game.
All I know is if I'm a wide receiver and I'm talking to my quarterback during the week before I play the Pittsburgh Steelers, I better say, you better recognize man or zone, because do not lead me into those linebackers, because I don't want to get my head knocked off.
Yeah, and if you're scared, don't run across the middle, because bad things happen. There's some bad people in the middle of that.
It is football.
It is a physical game, and those guys are going to continue to play the way they've been playing since they were 3 and 4 years old. All right. Also, Hines Ward, fresh off his Dance with the Stars thing, he just had surgery on his thumb next Tuesday. Speaking of James Harrison, and tweeting today on ESPN.com, AFC South blogger Paul Kaharski debuted a regular feature of the NFL Twindex, ranking of the league's top guys on Twitter.